Welcome back to the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft podcast. My name's Chris Spear, and I'm going to be your guide to enjoying the great outdoors. All right, guys, so I missed last week. I have a lot of stuff going on. I apologize about that, but going forward, hopefully we will continue to do this on a weekly basis. I'm actually moving it to a different channel, and I've moved all the videos, all the podcast videos to the Primitive Camper on YouTube, and that is my alternate website or alternate place for all these podcasts for the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft podcast. But anyway, this week we're talking about cooking, and I've been launching a bunch of YouTube videos on my Spear Outdoors channel about cooking and simple one meals or large meals that are cheap. And I've really, the options are really endless if you're thinking about it, because I have found several different ways to make decent meals to feed 3 to 4 people on a camping trip, and they're lightweight. And if you're staying for 2 or 3 days, 4 days, something like that, then each person that you're with can bring one of these meals with them, and y'all just cook them together while we're there. And it's going to turn into a great asset to have because they're not very heavy. They're extremely cheap. We're talking like $10 or $11 tops to feed 4 people on a camping trip. I mean, that's crazy, you know. And if 4 people did it, that's 4 meals for 4 days. And then you can bring some snacks and some stuff like that to do during the daytime for food, lunch, you know, stuff of the such. Now, you know, once again, we're in the cooking section of the book, and there's different ways to do it. But, you know, since we've already been through this book several times, Primitive Camping and Bushcraft, which is on sale. Just the other day, it was on sale for $13 on Amazon. It was crazy. They dropped it that low. But anyway, so we're not really going to be going by the contents of the book today. So I know there's several of you out there that follow along in the book. But anyway, I want to show you some different things. Today's not going to be the longest conversation we've had, but I do want to go over a couple of things that I found recently at a antique shop. So if you are watching the video right here in my hands, I have a skillet. Now, this skillet is it's pretty neat. It looks like it's copper on the bottom, and it's got little handles on the side, and it is bigger than 10 inches. So this is like 11 or 12 inch skillet, and it is perfect for camping. Now, it says on here, made in France. This thing's kind of old, and you can tell it's relatively old, but it's an aluminum skillet. And this thing it weighs exactly the same amount as the Pathfinder 10 inch not cast iron, but stainless steel skillet. So, but the stainless steel skillet will fit inside of this one. So this thing is pretty cool. I can't wait to get out into the woods and use this one. I'm going to have a video coming up where I use this skillet. And it's lightweight. It's easily, you could pack it, and, you know, I mean, it's not titanium by any means. It is going to, it's going to be just as heavy as the 10-inch stainless steel Pathfinder skillet. But the benefits of having this kind of skillet right here is awesome, especially when you're cooking breakfasts and stuff of the such. Now, that is a pretty cool find right there. Now, one of the other things that I found, and I see a bunch of these, there's a gentleman over in Alabama called Creek Camper, and he does these cold handled skillets. He does videos on these things all the time. And whenever I run across this channel, I was like, man, that's pretty cool. So, Creek Camper, if you're listening, I'm just giving you a shout out on here. Y'all go follow him on Instagram or Facebook or, YouTube or anything like that. It's Creek Camper. And, but he does these little one skillet lunches and stuff. He goes out, he reads the Bible by the creek. He sets up a little camp or whatnot, and then he will cook with one of these little cold handle skillets. And so these are pretty nifty because they're very lightweight. They're extremely packable. And, obvious reasons, it's a cold handle skillet. It's going to it's not going to be hot to the touch when you pick it up, stuff like that. It says Snow King baking powder. That's what this thing says. I don't know what model it is or anything of the such, but it is relatively old. I think I picked it up for like 10 or 15 bucks, something like that, at the Bars place in Peking. And it's a pretty cool little skillet, and it looks like it has been used several times. And I can't wait to get it into the woods and actually try it. It looks like a 7-inch skillet, and it actually fits perfect inside the other one. So you could probably take these two, and I got one more item I bought at this antique shop too that I want to show. If you're watching the video, I found this old school percolator. Now, let's see, made in, it don't say, it just says made, and then that's it. I can't read the rest. But anyway, it's got an old school percolator in there, and you can just do a lot of coffee. So, you can go ahead and fill up your coffee in there, and bam. Look at that. Look at that. That is crazy. So, and then that's a hefty coffee pot right there, man. I mean, that is something that you can actually leave in your house on your little stove and continuously make your own coffee, because let's face it, these automatic coffee makers are great and they're convenient, but ultimately they really the water don't get very hot, if you think about it, and not as hot as if you just boil it, and your coffee would be a lot stronger in this. So with this paired with the Primitive Camping Blend coffee right here, this is going to be an awesome adventure. So, if you're listening to the podcast, I was just demonstrating the actual percolator and the Primitive Camping Blend coffee bags that we have. And, those are going to go great together. So recently I have started doing a series on YouTube about camp cooking, and, it's not hard to put some food together into a pot. And some of my fondest memories growing up with my dad taking us camping was that he would make goulash. He called it goulash, camp goulash, and all it was just everything that we had thrown together in one pot and cooked, and we'd eat it. Now, I mean, you talk some high carbohydrates, some high protein, some high fiber, some high cholesterol. I mean, everything in this thing was high. And so it was extremely, what's the word? Hearty. It was very hearty. And so when we went camping, we didn't have a problem, and we'd eat on it for a couple of days. We always went camping in the wintertime, and it was cold out at night, so the food was preserved for a little bit longer, but we'd always eat on it for a couple of days. And I mean, I'm telling you right now, all my life, we would throw in a pack of spaghetti noodles, a pack of hamburger meat, a couple of cans of corn, a couple of cans of green beans, a can of red kidney beans, some of this, some of that, maybe a couple of chicken leg quarters, and we'd cook it all up and make a big hearty. It's not really a stew. It was thicker than a stew, but it wasn't a soup, but ever since then, it's been extremely easy for me to come up with camp meals, because when you're camping, it don't matter. All you're looking to do is fill your belly. That's all you're looking to do when you go camping, is just fill the belly and to get yourself more calories and get yourself more energy. There's no other, it's great to have freeze dried. And if you're doing a lightweight hiking through, long distance hike stuff. And I watch these guys, man, doing these long distance hiking, and I'm like, golly, dude, it's like speed walking. It's like, why are you going to go? How are you going to enjoy the great outdoors when you're speed walking? And, I'm just more of a laid back approach. Head out into the woods, set up a camp, sit there and chill for a day or two or a week or whatever. But, when it gets down to your actual cooking and of the such, we can talk at length, because, I've been using these various pots and pans and demonstrating these various different types of cookware and stuff like that for cooking purposes and cooking our food. And, I believe we've already discussed this several times on this channel and this platform, but, there's a lot of folks, what the most important thing that you can bring with you camping or in the woods, period, bushcraft survival, all the whatever hashtags you want to add to it. There's one common denominator. Some sort of metal cup, container, or whatnot is going to be one of your most important items to bring into the woods. During a disaster situation, anything metal, a survival situation, anything metal to boil your water and cook your food, stuff is great. But we're talking camping, and so you're going to usually have some kind of bush pot with you. You're usually going to have some kind of titanium kettle. I was just watching some videos on Dan Becker's page earlier. They were introducing some new kind of bush pot, the 750 and the 1100. It had the handles and the wings and the wooden at the top of it. The lid had a little wooden dowel there to pick it up, and it's pretty cool. But realistically, do you have to have the latest and greatest? No, you don't. I'm 50 years old, and I have lived with the least of the latest and greatest all my life. And I've written an entire book on the fact that you don't have to have the latest and the greatest to go and do. And, it seems there's always going to be, all right, let me give you this example. Back in I'm dating myself, but back in 1998, 96, back in 1996, just before cell phones really took off, they had pagers, they had beepers where, you wore this little device, they would type in the number in the telephone and it would page you. It was a pager or beeper or whatever you want to call it. It would page you, and it would tell you to call a number. All right. Now, this was the easiest way to get a hold of somebody back in my day, and it was state of the art. It was like, man, that's cool. I want a pager so people can call me, and I could feel needed and have to call somebody else back. So, but and the service was like expensive. It was expensive every month. You was paying $70-$80 for beeper service. And then, as that went away, it got replaced with the cell phones, and then cell phones became the next craze, and it's the same price. And then, and so everything has stayed the same. The latest and greatest, has always been, expensive or out of reach for the lower people, us lowly people like me. But, the pagers and the telephones and the car phones and, all this stuff, all the kids born after 2000 just ain't got a clue. They don't. They do not. What it was like to grow up in the 80s and 90s. I mean, that was ridiculous. But it was crazy. And then, but it was all state of the art at the time. It's just like, let's take this little cold hand skillet right here. And this was state of the art at one time. This was the premier cooking pot to take into the woods. Now you got titanium, and they come at 750 milliliters, or they come in 1100 milliliters, or 64 ounces, or whatever you want to call it. Then they get you stainless steel. There's always going to be something else, something flashy, something, Ecclesiastes says there's nothing new under the sun. And I believe that. It's everything that has been done. Everything that's being done has been done before. We regurgitate the same stuff throughout history. Every bit of it is all the same. I mean, even the tactics that the devil uses to get us to do things we don't want to do is stayed the same. There's nothing new under the sun. And when it comes to cooking, camping, hunting, hiking, there's nothing new. There's a new way to present it. There's a new kind of material to use to do the same old thing. But ultimately, there's nothing new. It's the same thing. And it's just rehashed, regurgitated, redone, reprocessed, reshipped out, rebranded, and refocused and retargeted to you. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what you're into. If you're into hiking, if you're into camping, you're into fishing, you're into hunting, you're into mountain climbing, you're into rock climbing, you name it. Airplanes, flying, submarines, anything. There's nothing new under the sun. Everything has been done. Everything will be done again. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. Anyway. Little rant there. So, if you've been watching some of my videos on the Spirit Outdoors channel, I have come across, it's very rare that someone sends me a product that I continuously use religiously over and over and over. It is extremely rare. BPS sent me a knife, and I use that knife more than I use my Moore Knife Garberg. I've done a video between the Garberg and the BPS Bushcraft 2, and I love both of them knives. But it is very rare, other than like a water filter or something like that, that a company sends me something that I religiously use every single time I go camping or go into the woods. There's 2 or 3 things that I could tell you right off the bat. One is going to be Titan Lumenade, the Lumenade Titan lantern. They sent me 2 of those, and I'm telling you now, I use them every single time I venture into the woods camping. Every time. Then I have the Grail GeoPress. Nobody sent me that. I bought it, all $110 or whatever it was. Water filter. I use it every single time I go into the woods. Then there is this. There is the LockB Tool Roll. Now this, I'm not sponsored by them. This is not a sponsored video or a podcast episode. I'm just giving you something that they sent me this video, and inside this tool pouch is all kinds of little spots where you can, as I unroll it and unravel it, It's got a zipper on one side, and I keep all my 1-packet seasonings in there, like Tony Chachere's. I got a bottle of Tabasco sauce in there, and that Tabasco sauce is great, and it really helps out with the flavoring. I got my Tony Chachere's single packets of Creole seasoning. And I actually have a couple packets of Folgers instant coffee in there too. And now I got a bottle of some more seasoning here. And they all fit in this. It kind of looks like the little shotgun bullet holders. Then I got a tube of salt. I got a tube of black pepper right here. And then on the back side of that is another pouch. I mean, this thing's got pouches for days. I got garlic powder in one. I got onion powder in one. I mean, this is amazing. I got my spork. And this is another item that my brother gave me for Christmas one year as a joke, a gag gift. And I have used this spork more than any other fork or tool that I have ever had. Now, Tapyrus is the name of it. This is a survival spork. I even mentioned it in my book. You pull it, it's got a knife. You pull that spork, and the knife is nested inside the handle. You pull it one more time, and it's got a ferro rod to start your fire that you can use the knife. You use your knife nested with this ferro rod to start a fire. And I mean, that is just one of those. This is tactical right here. It is tactical. Now, there is something on this back side back here. I don't know what it's for. I don't know. So, but anyway, we'll put that back in the bag and continue with our demonstration here. Oops, I keep hitting the microphone. All right, so now, next, I have a squirt bottle from Walmart. And it's got some olive oil in there, so you can squirt your little pan with some eggs. And squirt your little pan so you can cook some eggs. Then I got a pouch with some chicken bouillon and some beef bouillon. And then I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but my latest and greatest addition is the little can openers. And was that a P something can opener or whatever? I forget. P-57. P-57 World War II airplane. But it's a can opener in there. And now we'll put this back together. There we go. But this tool roll is amazing. And, you know, I mean, you can get by with it a different way. Like I said, it's hardly ever do I have anything that I just don't go into the woods without. And this has made it up into into my top items and top gear list, you know. And everybody has some kind of gear that they always go with. And that is my whole camp kitchen right there in that bag. That bag is waterproof, not really waterproof, more water resistant. It's more like an oil cloth type material. But that bag is water resistant, water beads off of it and everything. Keeps all the stuff on the inside dry. And unless it just flat out lands inside the water itself. But anyway, I love my little tool roll, and these LockB Tool Rolls are pretty cool. So anyway. All right. Well, guys, so I apologize about not getting a podcast up or an episode done last week. I have really been extremely busy. I've been building a new base camp, outdoor studio. I've been doing several videos out there trying to get this place figured out and everything. So I got a brand new camp studio outside, and I'm going to be doing a lot more videos from there and stuff like that in the future. So stay tuned. We're going to continue going over cooking next time on the next episode, and I got another video dropping today as well for the Spirit Outdoors cooking. So if you like what you're hearing here on the Primitive Camper page, head over to Spirit Outdoors on YouTube, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button on either one, and then hit the like and rate the podcast. Give me some ideas about what you think. So, but other than that, all right, guys, we're going to head out of here tonight, and we will see y'all in the next video or the next podcast. Thanks for joining. I appreciate every one of you. God bless you. See you next time.